What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's Motorfest video, I once again want to go over some small ideas and I guess you could say changes that I have been thinking about, but it does seem like other players are as well. This one is first going to come down to one of the biggest talked about things in this game right now. That is going to be the cross-player, I guess you could say the cross-platform type of gameplay. Now I did want to make another video about this because I do feel like everybody is asking for it. And I would say one of the biggest things here is going to actually introduce crossplay in the correct way. Now, I do know right now you can obviously do the grand races and the summits against other people on other platforms like on Xbox or like PC. And then, of course, if you are on PlayStation. Now, the one big issue I do have with this, though, is yes, you are going to have crossplay in a way that you cannot even invite people to your actual, like, crew in the game. Now, I do know, though, I did end up making a video about part of this topic a bit ago because I do feel like it really needs to be out there. But I would say, guys, one of the smallest changes they most likely need to do, even I guess you could say a large change, is going to have free drive being completely crossplay. Now, I know some of that might add different issues or like different exploiting on different things like going against console, but maybe in some way they can actually add that so that way you can play with your friends or at least join people that are going to be on a different platform. A lot of players might have friends that are like on Xbox or PC, or like maybe they just bought a PlayStation, their friend is going to be on Xbox. Maybe they actually want to drive around and even do like races and stuff with them. I would feel like that would be one of the biggest, most game-changing things ever in Motorfest. Like, it really would make so many players happy, but at the same time of that, though, it would most likely add on to a different dynamic. Like, imagine being able to join your friends on, like, different platforms, but also go after, like, collectibles. And on top of that, you could do, like, different, like, playlist challenges and do events together. I feel like that would be one of the biggest things ever they could do in this game. And I would also say from looking at, like, different comments and stuff that many players are most likely looking for this one change over everything else. And we do know like having cross-platform is once again going to bring its own issues over. You can also see some like exploiting and stuff in the summits or like stuff like that, and you can most likely notice some of the events you're probably like, yeah, you did that event in under a minute. Yeah, I don't think that's possible, buddy. Unless you're like the Flash or something like that. And I do feel like in some ways, though, I do think a lot of players might end up going, well, blocked if they were to add something like a cross-platform type of game mode. I'm not talking about like Grand Racing or like the Demolition Royale. I mean like an actual free mode. We're most likely going to see a lot of people like cheating or like all kinds of weird things going on because people are on like, a different platform. But to be honest, I would have to say it's really not going to be an issue. And the reason why I say that though is the biggest thing people want right now is to be able to play with their friends. And we all do know the name of this game is going to be called, The Crew. So being able to join a crew with other players on a different platform would be amazing. And imagine once they actually add the other islands into this game in the future, imagine being able to drive around with different platforms around the entire map and also do many of the events and skills and like that all together. That would be absolutely insane, guys, and I really do hope something like this does end up happening. I also do feel like in some ways it most likely will be a while before we see a proper cross-platform for free drive. Now, the next thing I did want to add into this video doesn't really have anything to do with crossplay whatsoever, but I was like, you know what, this is probably one of the most requested things since the game's release itself. That is going to be to separate the Street Tier 1 and the Tier 2 parts. Now, I do understand in the way that, yes, they are going to be able to be put on the Tier 2 parts because they go up to 750, but let's be honest though, having a level 600 part on a level 750 Street Tier 2 vehicle in an event on level 5 is going to be an absolute nightmare. Those AI are basically going to take you to dinner, and they are not even going to pay for it. That's how awful that would end up being. And having the Tier 1 and Tier 2 class parts being separate would not only make deleting parts so much easier, but also going through them to be much quicker. I did notice going through, like, if you did do a lot of races in the Tier 1, then ended up jumping into the Tier 2 class, you are legit going to have so many blue and purple parts in there that you don't know what to do with them, or I guess you could say pink parts, tomato, tomato. But regardless though, having that many parts is honestly going to be frustrating, and I have seen many comments talking about this recently saying, you know what, can you guys please separate the Tier 1 and Tier 2 class parts like right now or even yesterday? But I would like to know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I would almost say having a crossplay and most likely like a free drive mode with other platforms is probably going to be number one on everybody's list before having the Street Tier 1 and Tier 2 parts separated.